Hey guys, welcome back. I am Mariano Domes, and I'm the author of Any Model Anywhere ebook, the ebook about doing better photo sessions. So, if you are an amateur photographer just getting started, even if you have experience in other fields other than glamour photography, and maybe have a lack of experience working with models, even just amateur models, just friends and whatnot, then this ebook is for you. So I want to share some tips with you about how to improve the photo session, and I think I think I'll go about maybe 10 tips, but it all kind of boils down to time, being really good with your time, okay, being efficient with your time in the photo session. An average photo session will be about 3 hours or so. So the first thing is don't spend too much time on a novelty prop. A novelty prop, such as maybe let's say like oversized glasses, something funky. You want to stay focused, but you also want to be creative and fun. So don't let the novelty prop. It could be like a sign as well. Let's say that you're outside somewhere. It's a sign or some kind of cool statue, storefront thing. Don't spend too much time on that. Take some shots, get that shot that you want to get, and then move on. Having said that, let me move on. Number two is trying to get a certain pose perfect. So I'm really big on poses, and a lot of these videos are gonna be on poses, on how to do better poses and all. Those will be later videos. So I respect poses and posing, but I am guilty of trying to get it perfect, and you can waste a lot of time with that, right? It's good to have an idea of what you want as far as a pose, and then you might even be inspired by a very specific pose, or the model, what she's doing, But it can happen that you are not getting it right, and you're trying to make it right, and you're just forcing it. So accept it, move on, and you can always review your photos and try to come back to that pose. Okay, so let me move on now. Number three is the perfect angle. Sometimes there isn't the perfect angle. You just have to move on. So while going back to that pose thing, while you may have a model in a good pose, and you think, well, if I just get the right angle, and you take too much time trying to get the right angle, you're hitting it from all different sides. Well, then try a different pose, right? If you're not getting the angle right, try a different pose. So let's move on. Number four, and this has to do kind of even before the session begins. This is about the lack of specifics about finding a location. So let's say that you have a friend and you've agreed upon doing a photo session, right? Just hanging out a couple of hours, doing a photo session, right? So they tell you, meet me at a certain place, or I'd like to do it at a certain place, or we can do it at this place. Well, get the details, get specific details on how to find that place, or where you're going to meet. So it may be a common area or a well-known area that in your town and your city, that everybody knows of, and it's a great place to shoot. But get the specifics about where you're going to meet, because that can waste a little bit of time if you don't know where you're going to meet, or try to go together. But then that brings that's the other thing about waiting for them, right? So when you're going to meet at a certain place, be very specific about where exactly you're going to meet, right? And exactly what time, and how much time you'll wait. Tell the person, well, I'll wait 10 minutes at the most, or 15 minutes at the most, and obviously exchange phone numbers and all that kind of stuff. But do be specific about where you're going to meet, because you can waste a lot of time trying to find each other. Number five is when she's putting on makeup. Right now, in amateur sessions, and as a beginner photographer, Don't be too concerned about her makeup or asking her to, look fantastic in makeup or be all done up, In fact, I would advise you to tell her to not even put on makeup. That way you can focus on her and just the poses, very simple. And it kind of decreases the pressure on her, because if you tell her that, just come natural, you don't put on any makeup other than something light at the most, then she doesn't feel that much pressure to, look glamorous. And that way you're really kind of learning how to work with a model, how to direct her, how to communicate with her, how to pose her. So you're not concerned so much about the glamorous part of it, rather than the modeling and the posing part and working with a model. Okay? So, number 6 is phone calls, interrupting phone calls. So just let her know beforehand, or even you yourself. Say, you know what, I'm going to turn off my cell phone. Or if you're, where there's a regular landline phone, tell her, you know what, I'm not going to, if the phone rings, I'm not going to take it. But if you're somewhere where it's just your cell phones, let her know, you know what, let's focus on the session. Unless, of course, she's waiting on an important phone call. And that happens sometimes. That really does happen. They're waiting for a particular phone call. But lead by example and say, you know what, I'm going to turn off my cell phone for this session. And then go ahead and in between segments of the session, while she's changing or something like that, let her know, well, you can review your phone calls in between segments. So number 7 is, this might be a little bit, you might have a different opinion on this, and this is unrelated banter with the model. And it can be easy to try to create rapport, and have fun in the session, and that's cool. But it can kind of lead astray. It can lead off topic, and you really want to focus on getting certain results in the photo session. So one thing may lead to another, and then you're focusing more on rapport and getting along and who knows who and who knows what and those type of things. And that's cool for bonding, for creating friendships. But you can minimize that in order to remain focused on the photo session, because at the end of the day, she does want good results, and you want to create those great results as well. So just be attentive to that, how much banter is going on, and try to redirect it toward the photo session. Number 9 is being indecisive on a pose, right? So you're like, you're deciding on what pose to put her in, and being indecisive can really kind of take up a lot of time. So later on, I'm gonna talk at more length. I'm gonna talk more about poses, but the point is that being indecisive about poses and not having an idea will kill time, and killing time is a little bit wasteful, and you want great results. You want to make the most of your time, right? So number 10, and I think I'll finish up with this one, indecisiveness about where to shoot. Let's say you go to a park or something. Well, before you go to the park, have an idea of where you want to shoot. Don't just leave it all up to chance. Some things, of course, will be up to chance. You'll have to improvise, but for the most part, have a game plan. Know where you're going to shoot. Like I said, if it's at a park, you say you want to shoot for 10 minutes at a bench, 5 minutes at this tree, 5 minutes on the other side of the tree, 10 minutes on the grass, and so on. So don't just leave it up to chance. Don't just say, well, we'll meet there and see what happens, which a lot of models want to do, and photographers as well. We'll just leave it up to chance. We'll see what happens. We'll see what's there. But no, at least have an idea. Set a time. Make a plan for the session. Okay. So make the most of it. And these are 10 time killers. 10 things that we do that kind of we don't make the most of the time. And if we counter these, we'll make the session better. We'll be more efficient, even more creative with our time, because the creativity comes in with having a little bit of restriction. And if you restrict your time, then it forces you to be more creative, as opposed to just snapping away, shooting. That's not really, that's not always, I should say, that's not always being creative. Just taking 1,000 photos is not always being creative. And if you decide, well, I'm only going to shoot, 10 photos here, 10 photos there, 10 photos here, then you're putting limitations, and that forces you to be more creative. All right. So once again, my name is Mariano Domes, and I'll leave the link to the ebook called Any Model Anywhere, the blueprint for doing better photo sessions.